I'd like to call to order the Board of Trustees public hearing for case number PD 18-129 MOD-001 for 11301 Watkins, California Road. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kraft?
Present.
Mr. Adler?
Present.
Ms. Watson?
Present.
Mr. Snowden, are you prepared to make a presentation?
Yes, sir. Good evening, trustees, Mr. Chairman, other members of the board. This is a request to modify or change the preliminary development plan associated with an existing plan district and expand the plan district to include land not previously owned by the same property owner, but now owned at the time of development, but now owned by them. The site's located on Watkins, California Road between US 33 and Watkins, California, north of US 42. The red line on the left side of your screen represents US 33. The yellow line to the right there, it's a little blurry, but that's Watkins, California Road. The area in purple is the existing plan district. The area that's in yellow, surrounded by the blue box, is the current extent of the site. This site, which was previously a farmstead, was zoned planned, the front portion was zoned planned development district in 2019 to accommodate a landscaping services business. That particular planned development district created a lot of challenges in the way that it was structured and written. Ultimately, the property owner and business owner, who's also the business owner, approached the township about making some revisions and expanding the plan district to encompass the area that he now owns, which is the entire site. The entire site is now approximately 20 acres. You can see effectively what's happened here is Mr. Stroop, who's the property owner, has purchased Hold on one second. Sorry.
Barely, sir.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's purchased this area here, which at the time of development in 2019 was in another property owner. So Mr. Stroop and I have stayed in communication over the years. He was one of the developments that was getting off the ground when I arrived here 7 years ago as your zoning inspector. He was relocating from another location in the township to this front parcel. And he had zoned a plan district. Now remember, each plan district is unique. His particular plan district, and the business is called Landscapes by Terra, his particular plan district allows one single land use, landscape services. And because of the way that particular PD case is written, some of the details in what's called the regulation text and preliminary development plan, every time Mr. Stroop goes to make any modifications approaches my office about modifications to his site, there's challenges in interpreting that previous text. I'm looking at it and I can't tell you exactly what some of the things that were written in that document read. So Mr. Stroop and I sat down some months ago and we spoke at length. The first part of that meeting was me just listening to Mr. Stroop talk about his future plans or his maybe long-term vision for the property. Some of it was educational, me explaining how zoning regulations work, explaining some of the general development standards in the zoning resolution, explaining how PD districts function, and ultimately discussing the process. Then we met and we discussed what it might look like to do a changed preliminary development plan for this site. Ultimately what we did is we sat down and we wrote out a new regulation text. That new regulation text is following the model that our legal counsel wrote several years ago. And we fill in all of the information, the development standards that were existing in the old PD text. We took out the nonsense, if you will. And then we discussed his long-term vision for the property. In this particular case, since landscape services is the only land use permitted, that would mean he really has one option: convey that to another landscape services use, or rezone the property either now or at the time of development. So we discussed some other uses that would fit within the bag. That's not usually how zoning is done. Zoning usually has a box or a bag of uses that are similar in their intensity and similar in their character that are permitted in the district, even a PD district, which is customizable. So we discussed a handful of other uses that are going to be very similar to the landscape services use that's already established, and we introduced those into the revised regulation text. He then submitted essentially an application to come back before you. That application was submitted to my office. It was routed to the Regional Planning Commission as required by law. The Regional Planning Commission recommended approval with modifications. All of that information was presented to the Township Zoning Commission, including a memo that I wrote reviewing some of LUC's recommendations, and the Zoning Commission recommended approval with modifications, which is what's before you now. It's a little bit of an unusual situation. In this particular case, it's kind of a redo. It is adding some new land, but in a lot of ways it's redoing the PD district for the site. I'm very pleased with where it's landing. I think what's being presented here, the text and the plans that are included in this case, bring to life his existing development and give a couple reasonable options for future redevelopment without changing radically the character of the original PD district. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Mr. Stroop is here. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer questions, but my understanding is he doesn't have a specific presentation because he's not contemplating any more development at this time. It's more just a repackaging of the zoning work that was done in 2019 and incorporating all the modifications that have been made to our regulations over the last 6 years. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Could you very briefly review with me the modifications that the zoning commission recommended?
They didn't. Short answer is, I was not at that hearing as I was away. The short answer is they didn't recommend any modifications to what I originally submitted. But the way that it was worded, their recommendation is approval with modifications. And they didn't make any changes, is the takeaway.
Okay, then briefly summarize the modifications that you...
I worked with Mr. Stroop when he applied, and the main difference between the old text and from 2019 and the current text is there's 2 additional land uses that are permitted in this PD district. One is repair and maintenance, which would include things that, again, make sense to the landscape services use that is there. The other one is specialty trade contractor, a plumber, electrician, that sort of thing. Again, it makes sense to how he's using the site. Those are the substantive changes from 2019. The rest is reformatting, taking out some nonsense, frankly.
I know I saw a question came up regarding lighting issues. Are the lighting standards consistent with our current zoning text?
If you're referring to the letter that the township officials received from Mr. Nolan, a neighbor across the street, the answer to the question in short is that the exterior lighting standards that are in the zoning resolution apply to this development. However, when this development was originally set up in 2019, it's unclear what standards apply. But
So the
they
current
do.
ones now apply.
That is correct.
And could you review quickly what type of buffering there is between Route 33 and this location by our standards?
That would depend on what is being, right now there's no changes proposed, okay? But any changes to the outdoor storage area, as shown on the site plan now, would have to follow the standards in 620 for screening of outdoor storage. If it was a building, there's different screening for that. If it was a service area, there's different screening. So in short, it would depend on what type of improvements would be proposed. But where we're at right now, he's really not proposing any new development.
So when he decides what to develop, he has to come back and get approval for those.
He would have to go through the detailed development plan process, and however he's configuring that plan at the site, at the time, however he's configuring the site at the time, the proper regulations would be applied. So if it was outdoor storage, if he decided, hey, I need to expand outdoor storage to US 33, there's a setback for the outdoor storage, there's a buffering requirement for the outdoor storage. If he decided I'm gonna do a building back there, there's a setback for the building, there's buffering for the service area of the building if that were to be directed towards US 33. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Snowden. Any additional questions for Mr. Snowden?
No.
Mr. Stroop, would you like to come up and say anything?
I don't have anything to present really, unless you have questions.
Okay,
No questions.
No questions?
No questions.
we're good. Let's see.
Mr. Adler, if you're looking for a resolution, if you wanted to act, I have the resolution in front of me. You don't have, that's something different you have in your hand.
Yes, is there any problem with making a motion to approve this?
Mr. Adler, before you do that, let's check to make sure there's no public comment on this. I didn't see anybody signed in, but let's check that as well. Oh, thanks, Chief. Thank you, sir. So unless the board were to want to require any other modifications at this time, I'm giving you the resolution with the language for the motion for you to make, Mr. Adler.
I move that the recommendation of the Jerome Township Zoning Commission to approve this proposed amendment to the official zoning map with modifications be and hereby is adopted by the board, thereby approving the amendment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes?
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
The
Mr. Adler,
resolution is approved.
thank you. I'm sorry for I apologize. I'm going to give 3 copies of this to Mr. Caldwell to have the board sign. And I'd like to remind everybody that there's 2 different locations to sign. Everyone who voted yay should sign where it says yay.
We're going to pause for a moment while we do all the signatures, and then we'll adjourn this session and go into our regular session. So please bear with us. In the past, we got in a hurry, and sometimes we didn't get all the signatures where they needed to be, so that's why we're taking time to make sure everything's signed correctly.
Appreciate everybody's patience. If these aren't signed, it just makes a big headache for everybody down the line. So appreciate your patience.
Should be music in between. Jeopardy. We should have music.
You want the Jeopardy music? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we should have that.
Absolutely.
What's that?
So you can-
Something of some sort.
public hearing. Do I have a second?
I second.
Public hearing is adjourned. Without further ado, I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for April 21st, 2026. The time is 7:16. Roll call.
Mr. Kraft?
Present.
Mr. Adler?
Present.
Ms. Watson?
Present.
Let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And looking at the agenda and realizing that we don't have legal counsel here, I would like to change the agenda to have our executive session at the end after announcements. Second, roll call.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
Okay, tonight we're moving the guest speakers up front here, and we have 3 guest speakers. Our first guest speaker is our Union County Auditor, Andrea Weaver. If you would please come up.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I promise not to make too much unless you ask lots of questions. And then all bets are off. So what I'm going to pass out to you is something that Robert sees every year. This is just kind of like a levy review. I do this with all my townships every year. Many times it's more than once a year if they have questions. There are, while I'm passing this out, let me just tell you that there are a number of pages. And the lion's share reasons for those number of pages is because you have renewed or replaced, good evening, Chief, or replaced a couple of levies in different cycles. And the way the farm taxation, oh, I have more. The way the farm taxation keeps track of whether or not a given levy qualifies for the rollbacks, which are the credits that taxpayers can get, not homestead, but the 2.5 to 10, is based on whether or not it's active after September of 13. Believe it or not, that was a case of approval. So keep that in mind. I'm gonna wander a little bit. It's easier to do it this way. So I highlighted from the top left, and all the pages are, the way I'm going to guide you is the same on every page. The content of the page is different. So start at the top left, and you'll see I circled where it says effective rate, general fund, inside levy, 0.4 mils. And on the vertical, I have a vertical orange line here in the bottom, or on the left-hand side, and those are the districts that are pulling that levy. So if you look at this, the line here, these are the tax districts, and you can tell usually the delineation is typically the school district that is highlighted there. Those are the residents that are paying, in this case, a 0.4 inside mill, because that's the first page. So the first page is just what that inside millage is drawing. It's going to be generating for the township. I did circle middle of the page where it says total class 1, class 2, public utility, and the total. Those are the total values. As of tax year 25 for the entire tax district. Again, the tax district is those 5 vertical lines on the left-hand side of the front page. So District 14, 15, 17, 18, and 40 are all the tax districts that are paying your 0.4 inside mills. If you go to the if you meander to the far right side of the page, I circled 1.345. That's actually 35%. So if you want to know the total value of the entire township, you're going to divide that by 0.35. So it's a big number as of 1/1/25. And then I circled the 511,000. That's 95% certified, because I have to allow for delinquencies and for bankruptcies because the star's online and not everyone pays their taxes on time. So this 0.4 inside mill, and I had circled the effective rate on the left side. The 0.4 inside millage, which is what this is expected to generate a little over $500,000 this year. Now, if you turn the page, you're going to see the same logic pertains, but you're going to have different districts on the left side. There's going to be 2 missing, because this can't include any villages or cities, so it's just the unincorporated area, and this is road and bridge. You can see the description. It says you have road and bridge here. It's also inside millage, and you can see that that is only being taxed on those districts that are not incorporated. You can't get road and bridge, for example, in the inside of the village of Glen City. So this is a little bit smaller value because you're not including 2 of those tax districts that were included in the inside millage that covers everything. It is going to bring in about 1.5 million for this year, is the road and bridge. And that's 1.2 mils, that is a statutory minimum. So you are getting what you won't get any more for road and bridge.
What's next?
Yeah, that's it. The next one, let's see, I think I might have it out of order. What is the next one, Chief? What's on the third page?
2.3, 1991.
Okay, that's a continuing levy. So you could, again, that's a fire levy. You can move past that. The logic is the same, and you can see what the intended income for that is, or what the revenue is going to bring for that levy. What's the next page, Chief? Page 4?
1992, 10 million.
Okay, that's the same thing, that is a continuing levy that was passed in 1992. And you'll be able to see if you meander to the far right, that's going to generate about just under $2.5 million for the year. It's currently generating 1.73 mils in effective rate for class 1. What's the next page?
2011 fire EMS levy.
Okay, that was the one that was doubled to 2. It was at 2.8 mils?
2.9.
2.9 and 2.9. Okay, so that was the one that was recently on the ballot. You passed it. And that was a renewal, I think, just a straight renewal. So it's a total of 5.9, 5.8. The reason it's 2 pages is the reason that I opened up my comments with, and that is because the 2.9 was originally created in, what year was that? 2011?
Yes.
And then it was replaced and increased, I forget if it replaced or renewed. Either way, it was doubled. And the doubling, the next 2.9 happened much later in time. And so the first 2.9 qualified for the rollbacks, the 2.5 and the 10%. The next one does not. And the Department of Taxation keeps track of that separately. So if you, right now, if your voters would have to go back and vote on that, which they just did this last fall, they will see 5.8. They don't have to punch the box for 2. It gets rolled together. But I have to keep track of it separately only for the rollback purposes. I was kind of clear as mud, and I apologize for that. I don't make those rules. 1, Chief, is what?
That's going to be the police.
Yep, that's the one that we really are here to talk about. That levy does expire this year, and that is 1.2. Again, the same logic applies. The first time it was voted was 2012, and then the next 10th that was added was done in 2022. So it is a 1.2 mil police levy. The 0.1 mil levy is earning at 0.06, and the 1.1 portion of that is earning at 0.48. So the total that's going to generate is 588.74, about 640,000 a year for this year. I know this is really confusing.
Is there any rollback on the 2012 levy?
Yeah, that one does have the taxpayers are eligible for the 2.5 and the 10% rollback on the first part of that. The 0.1, no. The 0.1 addition that came in 2022, no. So that means that the taxpayers pay the whole amount of that 0.1 mil addition for that levy. If you want to see, if it would be helpful to the board, although your fiscal officer is more than capable of doing it, but I'm more than happy to show you what on 100,000 of value, what that looks like for the taxpayer. The 1.1 and then the additional 0.1, what that means for a taxpayer that would qualify for those rollbacks. But the township receives the 588 and the 74 together. So when you go to the ballot, assuming you do, the first opportunity you would have to go to the ballot is this coming November. The levy expires with tax year 2026, so that it will still collect in all of calendar year 27. So you have 3 opportunities. You have November of 26, you have May of 27, yep, and November of 27. So you wouldn't have to go to the ballot this November if you choose not to. Either way, your taxpayers will see a 1.2 police levy. They won't see a 1.1 and a 0.1. They will see 2 lines. It gets put together as one levy on the ballot, so that hopefully minimizes the confusion for the taxpayer. But for accounting purposes and for what that means to the taxpayer, I am forced, and so is your fiscal officer, to keep track of those 2 levies separately. And when I ran a copy of this today, I just ran it from my big report and didn't group them together. It wasn't until I was driving here I thought, oh nuts, I should have grouped these together and make it a little bit easier for you all to understand. So that levy, if you know you want to be on the ballot this November, your fiscal officer knows that the deadline for that filing is going to be the first Wednesday of the first full week of August. It's like the 7th or 8th of August. So he'll know what those, I'll need the resolutions and that kind of thing. And the rules are the same regardless, it's just the timing is different. If you want to be on the November ballot, I need to have that paperwork so I can get that certification to you by early in August, and I will be out of the country the last week of June and the first week of July, just FYI. But you'll have it together before that. If you want to wait till next year, filing deadline's usually early in February to get the paperwork together to the Board of Elections if you want to be on, say, the May ballot of next year. So that is the revenue picture. I know your fiscal officer has gone through that very capably many times, but it's helpful. I think the most helpful piece about this is to see which districts are paying which levies. So that vertical column on the left really is just your inside millage that everybody pays. And then the other levies are based on where they are. And your fire levies, like Plain City pays to Pleasant Valley, they don't pay to you for fire. So it really helps that vertical line on the left to see which tax districts are actually paying the levies that you have. I think that's just good information. That's helpful to be reminded. Okay, that was kind of a whirlwind, kind of a blowback. Anybody have any questions? Because that's really all I had to present to you tonight. I just want to remind you about that levy that it does expire this year, but again, it collects all of next year. So you don't have to do anything right away unless you choose to.
Could you state again what the date was if we decide to go through November
It's
to get to you?
Right. I would love to have your resolution by, end of June, early July. As I said, I leave the country on June 22nd. I get back on July 7th. So I would have the rest of the month of July. But the filing deadline is going to be whatever on my phone. Whatever that Wednesday of the second full week of August is. So it's like the 8th, 7th of August is the filing deadline for the Board of Elections. So we would just need to have that paperwork together by then. So I'm not sure who draws up your resolutions. Do you, the prosecutor, assist with that, Mr. Caldwell? Yep. So you should ask relatively soon. They're already being, I know Fane's already being inundated. August the 5th is the filing deadline with the Board of Elections. So my certification takes 10 minutes, but for him, he'll do the resolution necessity, and then the resolution to proceed will have to come up. And it's much as having public meetings, because you can't approve both of them in the same meeting. You have to have two separately publicized meetings. So if you do one, say in June, one in July, maybe one in May, whatever you want to do. You just need to kind of back into those dates, knowing that August 5th, 4 p.m., the Board of Elections is your that date to be on the November ballot. That doesn't mean you're not going to have a chance again, but that just means to be. And this November is going to be, again, the people on the ballot are going to be me and the county commissioner, whoever succeeds at the primary, and then all the state offices. So governor, attorney general, secretary of state, when you're thinking about what other reasons people might go to the ballot as far as voter turnout, it's always kind of helpful to know what else is going to be on the ballot in November as to how much turnout you might have. Clear as mud, I have what to say. Sort of kind of helpful. And I don't need an answer today. I just basically wanted to make sure you were aware of the levy picture, and I knew that one levy was expiring this year. So that you would know and you would see that revenue piece.
Any other questions?
So on that first page,
With the inside millage?
the taxable value of the is that the entire township?
Yep.
1.345 billion?
Yep.
Is that right? And
Yep.
if you divide that by 0.35,
There
it's
you
like
go.
$3.8 billion?
Yep. It's a lot of money, a
Wow.
lot of zeros. Yep. That's one thing this report does, is it does take care of that calculation for me. Otherwise, I would be taking the 100% value times 35 and then multiplying times each of the millages that are on the left. But this report does take care of that calculation for me. So yeah, this is a 35% representation. It's a big number.
It seems like what I can remember back, maybe 4 times.
It's a big
It was
number.
$1 billion valuation,
Yeah.
350 million,
I'd have to look at the year. You just tell me the year. You don't need to go back and look at it.
2014.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much for your time. and
Okay.
all your
Let me know
efforts
how
at
to reach
keeping
me.
the
If you
numbers
have any other
going.
questions, let me know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along, our next guest speaker is our Union County Engineer, Jeff Stouch. If you don't mind stepping forward and addressing the group. Thank you.
I brought some estimates for you. Talk about them here briefly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I'll cover what we call the hot mix estimate, or the blacktop paving estimates that Brandon and Vince asked me to put together here a little while ago. We'll talk about these, and then Justin Story, our superintendent, will talk about chip seal and our patching estimates that we also prepared. So, these are New California, primarily New California subdivision streets. You did some last year. These would be kind of a continuation of that same pattern, which I think is good, doing some mileage every year if you can. And then we were also asked to do the balance of your Township Road Mitchell Witt. It's about 9/10 of a mile. No AEP through the RUMA that we put together, kind of jointly. Paved a little short section from Warner Road on up northward towards the entrance to the new substation construction site. That turned out fine. The balance of that is, like I said, about 9/10 of a mile. And it's my best guess based on what we've seen asphalt prices do every year as far as increases. I believe I increased these about 5%. It's a little more difficult for these smaller jobs, smaller tonnages to put a finger on what the contractor would charge. We unfortunately are not in our office going to be able to pave any roads this year. It's the first time in my career we have not had the dollars to pave. But we're happy to put the specs together for you guys if you have an interest in this, and you can mix and match if you take a look at your budget. And Robert can't swing all this. We can pick and choose a little bit and help you make those decisions. We probably, what Justin will be doing some River Township paving as well, and it's up to you. We can put the specs together regardless. We would inspect the project, manage it, approve estimates for you guys and Dover, maybe Richwood, north of Richwood as well. As far as bidding, if you guys want to bid it through your board, you can. Or the commissioners seem to be willing to go ahead and bid that even though it's township work or village work. We can bid it through their office. I didn't get any pushback with doing that. It increases the workload for us a little bit, but takes the hassle off you guys. So don't need to know that tonight. Just think about that. We're happy to actually bid it. It would likely be a early June bid date. We're just getting a little bit on the late side of things, but we should still get some decent numbers.
Is there any advantage either way, Jeff? Who bids it?
No, I don't think so.
It's the same process, right?
Yeah, we would, what would be most helpful for the contractor, and it's typically the same contractor that bids on our work, is for them to either have us bid it at the county level or the townships, the villages bid it. It's probably the contractor's preference for us to do it. So we would, other than managing the contractors, the prevailing wage coordination that Jessica in our office would do, she can do that as well. So
Would you be bidding for other townships too? Could this hopefully reduce the price?
yeah, that's a good point. The more work you can put on there, the better, and it wouldn't be a ton. But that helps a little bit. This contractor knows that he's got this packaged up. And I believe those are the only two townships you guys go over, and then, like I said Richwood. And if you could give us an answer within a week, 2 weeks, that would be helpful. And even if you're on the borderline of being able to make this work for your budget, we can put the bid together, bid it, see what you get, not perform on the streets, if that helps. I think they all need it. I drove them here recently, drove them today, and they're good choices. I put a 5% contingency in here, but I think my unit prices are relatively conservative, so it should be much more than that. So, any questions on this paving piece, this next piece?
Do you want them to take action? Robert, do you have a handle on what the budget is?
Yeah, this number is doable for us, so,
And we do have some chip seal and patching too, which isn't nearly this high, but
So I would say
Just
it's-
to let him know, if
Yeah.
there's no questions,
so
I
unless
would rather.
Vince is agreeable to, and made the request for these roads, then I would say go ahead and have the county do it.
Okay,
Okay.
good, Barry.
Okay, well, I'd like to move that we proceed to have the county bid on these as proposed here by the county engineer and coordinate this with our fiscal officer.
yep.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
And what we'll do, I'll kind of stay in touch with you, Brandon, as far as bid dates, and that's where we'll get you a copy of the specs, you have them. And then, once the bids come in, and if they're agreeable to you, still in line with what you can do, we'll have you pass that resolution like you typically do, and the contractor will deal directly with you as far as paying the bills when that time comes, later this summer or fall, so. Okay. So Justin, our superintendent, we could talk to you about the patching and chip seal part of the,
Okay, well, don't get away, we want to get you on all the projects too.
no, there's no more questions. Yeah, we have to do that, so.
Don't leave you.
I spoke to Vince a while back. He had asked me to take a look at your roads. So I looked at everything basically outside of subdivisions, the rural township roads. Looking at just pavement maintenance items, some patching. Here's a bundle. There's a resolution on top for chip seal. Partway through, there's a resolution for greater patching on a couple roads. They're kind of summarized on those sheets. Again, this is just chip seal, road, surface treatment, purely pavement maintenance, try to extend the life of what you have, keep it in good shape. The greater patching is just some areas of pavement distress. I recommend patching those. Hickory Ridge, long history of patching on that road. Got some pretty good sized areas that I would get patched up.
Double check the numbers.
Okay, the total for both of them is $97,250, if you're interested in that number.
And is that separate than what the other bid?
Yeah, still the same. So this is all me, county forces. I'm sorry, I'm Justin Story, the superintendent at the operations side of our operation. So this will be county forces, all force count work.
Robert, any comment on the budget?
I think this will be fine.
Are there any roads that are missing?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it's what Vince and you.
He just told me to look at them. I did say, we don't need an answer right now. If you want to talk to Vince and have him look at them and decide, again, we could, an answer in the next 2 to 3 weeks would be helpful just for planning purposes and material.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go over it with
We won't
Vince.
be in for 2 weeks. So
Yeah, not a problem. I have another copy here if somebody wants.
That'd be
one.
great, I'll
Yeah.
take one.
Yeah.
And I'll get
Look
it.
at it once, talk to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
do what? Oh, wait 2 weeks?
Tell Vance he's got a
Yeah.
question, give me a call.
Wait.
Yeah.
Look at anything else too.
Okay, give my copy.
Thank you.
Yes, Brandon,
Yes,
there's a copy for you. Did you get one?
yes, I did, he had one, he just had a spare. Yeah, you can have it.
Whatever.
We'll get
Pass
you-
somebody who will.
One other quick tidbit, sorry. I don't know how many of you talked to Joyce in the past at our operations facility. She's been our administrative person for a number of years. She's retiring the end of April. So Natalie, we have in place. She's been working with Joyce for a while now. So in the future, you'll be talking to Natalie. But we are having a party for Joyce April 3rd at the operations shop. If anybody's interested in stopping by. April 30th.
Tomorrow's the administrative
Oh,
assistance
sorry.
day also. Tomorrow is administrative assistance day.
I saw that.
So,
Giving you a
just want
hint.
to remind you guys.
Hint.
Could you state that date one more time?
April 30th. Sorry, I think I misspoke the first time.
What time?
I honestly don't know the time off the top of my head.
Or just let us know, just.
Yeah, I think Natalie will be sending out an invite to all townships.
Okay.
We got one.
Oh,
It's 1 o'clock.
Okay.
for, we'll convert that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stouch, would you like to make any comments about plans for projects this summer?
Yeah, I can speak to that, and then Tony and I can kind of tag team a little bit on anything, because there are some connections there. Just some updates, and I just looking out the window here of Rock Road. That roundabout design continues, and we talked about this on our corridor meetings, I think at our Township meeting in February. Right now, the plans, I believe, are about 50% complete. We reviewed the first set. I've given the developers, consultants, some feedback. We're pretty comfortable with the footprint and the plan. They're actually sliding the roundabout this way, away from the two residential properties there on the corner. Talking to local residents, there will be some right-of-way taken or necessary for that roundabout footprint to be built, but most of the alignment's being pulled this way towards the URE property, and I think maybe the township property. When we fine-tune those plans a little bit more, I can get you guys a copy of them. It would be a single lane roundabout. The key on the timing, we do not know yet. I know Del Webb would like to see that built yet this year. A traffic standpoint, from a maintaining traffic standpoint, it would actually be advantageous to build it yet this year, but it would be it's a pretty aggressive schedule, to be honest. Mainly because utilities getting moved. You know, if we get the plans done tomorrow, there's gas lines. Marysville has a water line in there. We have, especially the URE, has a bunch of design to do to be able to move their infrastructure out of the way. So there's probably a better chance it would happen in 2027. But right now, we're trying to keep our options open to see if we can possibly get it built. And it'd just be less, if it got built this year, it would be less disruption with traffic, you know, as far as people not being inconvenienced as much. But that's kind of a wait and see. We're talking through that with the designer right now, and we'll know more here in a couple of months.
Why would you think it would be less disruption this year?
Well, just
Because you already got disruption.
yeah, they would be able to build it and maintain traffic at the same time. So they build more or less half of it at a time. And since it's restricted to one way, just southbound only now, they'd be able to pull that off. And the discussions with the consultant, if you know we finish up 42 industrial that Tony will talk about here in a minute, it's all done, good to go, and then you drop another project on the public, next year. It would just be it would be a disruption again. They're tied enough close to answer your question. They're tied enough closely enough together that we think we can maintain traffic at the same time. But, utilities, you know, Tony will tell you this. Justin, I know, will tell you this. One of the biggest challenges besides just acquiring the right of way on a larger project is getting utilities moved. They're busy. They struggle to keep crews together, budgets and everything to get things out of the way. And that's often been some of our biggest holdups of the utility relocations. So
You still got some telephone poles, unfortunately.
yeah, we were talking about that today. At some point, you would think they would be. Let's see, the Hootchard Road roundabout, Hootchard and 161, and what we call our first phase of Hootchard to be about a little less than a half mile. Plans are about 95% complete. ODOT's reviewed them. We have, City of Dublin has some comments, and those plans are about wrapped up. And that would be the long-awaited roundabout there, 161 Hootchard, as I said. They built the first segment of Hootchard. Should start later this summer. Developer built project, and then the second half of Hootchard and the Warner Road widening would be the 2027. Those plans are, design of those plans, preparation of those plans are on the heels of this first phase. We're continuing to watch the the corridor here on Industrial Parkway. Just recently changed the speed limits, dropped it 5 miles an hour. We have a couple of other speed studies we're doing. One's Jerome Road. Brock Road is another one. We've had some discussions with Dublin Schools for a crosswalk for the elementary school off of Highland Croy. I'm not sure, it takes some coordination with Dublin Schools, City of Dublin, Jerome Village to be able to make that happen. And we're looking at some grant funds for that. Trying to think if there's any. Justin, do you think of anything else that's pertinent to the Jerome area?
Are you coordinating with the water utilities on Kimberly?
Yes, that's, City of Marysville is handling that. They talked about that in a recent corridor meeting. One benefit to that, once they get past the construction piece, is the road will be repaved. Because they're gonna have to put the water lines in the pavement from what I understand, and part of that project will be repaving the internal streets for that. So that'll be a part of the project cost for the city.
And that's also planned for this summer?
Yes.
Any progress on?
Yeah, we've talked a little bit with Brandon and Eric. There are a number of development discussions, different phases. One that's pressing right now is the Gateway Crossing on Milton Road, and we're just continuing to work with the developer and the commissioners on options there. Likely Weldon would be, if it happens, it would be cut off, so we would not have through traffic from Industrial Parkway through Weldon. They're on that 90-degree curve. So we're working through details there. We've had multiple meetings and still have some more scheduled. So as those plans come together, we'll share those details because it changes every couple of weeks.
Any progress on Blaney Road?
It's a funding issue right now. We continue to talk with our commissioners. You guys could help us as a board, quite honestly, helping to stress the importance of that. We do have the Delaware County Engineer Chris Bowsman coming in to talk with them in a joint discussion here, and I believe it's next week. And what Barry's talking about is the Home Road corridor turns into Blaney Road, which keys into Jerome Road. We have $2.5 million committed from Jerome Village to get towards that roundabout. Put the three-legged roundabout in there. We have a sunset date of 2028 to get that started. And then the little road segment between 42 and Jerome Road will then be built. That is a little bit of a tougher lift because of not only finances, but we need to acquire a substantial right-of-way there to be able to make that connection. But what's so important about that is, you know, the home road corridor in Delaware County heading this way is one of the primary goals we have to move east-west traffic into the future years. And right now they have to stop at Jerome Road, go north or south, and find their way up through 42, and it's not the safest and most efficient way to move traffic. So that continues to be one of our top two priorities as far as future thoroughfare planning. And as I said, one key piece to that is just the finance piece. The roundabout will probably require about another $1 million in local funds, and then the road segment itself and the right-of-way is probably about another $4 million at least. And we're working on getting another consultant on board to finish off those plans and be ready to go.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask the engineers to have a question? And Jeff, regarding the Kimberly Woods project, does the engineer's office accept over the street from the city when that's done, kind of following your normal process, or at least eyeball it, hey, they paved it, and like, is there a process for that?
Well, it'll stay at Township Streets.
Right.
But we could, and we could certainly work with the city as far as helping to inspect that and make sure it's signed off on, basically, if that's what you're.
Just, you know, none of us are really qualified to do that.
Yeah.
Even Vince,
Yeah.
I mean, he would go and be like, oh, it looks good to me. So it's just as unusual because it's not following any of our normal development process. It's the city doing a project with it. Just
Yeah.
throwing that out there.
They've got their own inspection team at the city, but we're happy to kind of keep an eye on them too. We talk to those guys weekly, so I'll make a note of that and we can get with them. I don't know exactly when that work's supposed to take place, but
I don't think Jeremy, I don't think, he was waiting on another piece of that.
Yeah, they said though that they wanted to start this summer.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, he did say that, I just don't, there was some other piece he was waiting on, I don't remember what that was.
And that'd be a good thing, Brandon, at our next board meeting to pull them aside.
Yeah.
And ask them to just help coordinate that.
Yep.
Yep.
Is any work being done on updating the thoroughfare plan?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we have an engineer working on that. We had a meeting here about 3 weeks ago. And we're taking this area, you know, where most of the activity is, and looking at simplifying that plan. And our goal is to make sure it's updated and then adopted by the commissioners. That helps us.
Very good, appreciate that.
That'll really help this board, your township, our township zoning commission, LUC, when they're reviewing plats. It'll really help. I know we've talked about that, so I'm excited to hear that. I know it's a lot of work, so my hats
That's
off.
something. This is actually one of Tony's previous employees, so he knows the area very well. He's retired.
So direct complaints to Tony, is that what you're
That's
saying?
right. That's right.
No, Jeff, truly, it's helpful, and so thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we selected him in part because he's familiar with the area. He's,
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Very good, appreciate it.
Okay, absolutely.
Any other questions?
No,
No.
thanks for coming down
Thank
for the
you.
update.
Sure, I'll stick around for, anxious to see
Well,
you.
you're gonna tell us.
Yeah, some great news, I'm sure. So.
Okay, moving right along here, our next guest speaker is from the Ohio Department of Transportation, Anthony Tarosky. If you would address the board and audience, thank you.
Thank you for having me tonight. I'm Tony Tarowski. I'm the District 6 Deputy Director, so I'm responsible for all of Central Ohio ODOT operations. And with me I have Hannah Salem, our Public Information Officer. And thank you for the invitation tonight, Brandon. Appreciate it. So I'm going to run through slides that cover the entire county, give you kind of a big picture. Of course, we'll start with Jerome Township work. And I will leave this package with you afterwards so you can distribute as you need. So just in brief, we cover Marion and Moore County down through Union and take away, actually, these slides from about a month ago. Following up on your email, we've actually given Fayette County down to our District 8 Cincinnati office. But our program is about $1.2 million, and a pretty healthy chunk of that is in Union County. So to Jeff's point, don't want to have every road under construction all at once, but we've got a lot of good investment happening. Of course, the project that is near and dearest to your all's heart is the intersection improvement in Industrial Parkway and 42. It's under contract with Shelley Company. And, you know, they're working, to Jeff's point, utilities have been the bugaboo. And I'll just add on that is a universal issue as far as staffing and availability in some of these crafts. And I would say even further, I think Frontier owns the poles that are yet to move, but there are at least 2 or 3 other utility companies that are co-located. So it's not as simple as beating on one company and saying move. There's a sequence of construction that has to happen. So we've had them moving, shifting their operations to continue with productive work. I do think they're going to mobilize some of their portions of their crew out of the site next week. Does not mean that that's going to be a scheduled killer, but that is something we're keeping an eye on. And we're working with Frontier and the other utility companies trying to keep productive movement happening. We've also done some coordination ahead of Election Day to make sure that we have adequate signage out there. We've worked with Brandon over the last month for a couple different events. We want to make sure that voters can get here without any hindrance. So if you see any issues with that, please let us know and we'll try to make changes. So, you know, we're at the start of the project, continue to work, and it will.
Are we talking May or November?
Hmm?
May or November?
Elections. Elections.
May elections.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted the clarification.
We'll still be out here for November, but we'll have a lot more progress. To the northeast, we are working on the 42 pavement rehabilitation. They got the closure started for the other half of the roadway early this year. A lot of it's drainage and essentially reconstructing and widening the roadway. So continue through a lot of the year. We're going to try to only keep the segments closed that we actually need with the individual work items. So as they wrap things up, they'll reopen segments, but the overall closure will continue through the end of the summer, and then they will open Jerome Road and the new turn lanes at the final end of the project. So really Harriet Watkins is really that last piece that we're expecting in October to fully reopen. Shelly and Sands is the contractor there. Generally, if they can work ahead, they're going to do that. They have a pretty high volume of projects around their district, so they may wind up beating that schedule. This is a project I want to highlight as you're going through Marysville. $21 million bridge reconstruction project. Just shown on the map here is that we are rebuilding many of the existing bridges that are just aged out. And the pavement work will follow this, but as we shift traffic around, we want to focus on the bridge work. And what you see there, the red stars are the structures we're working on. And then what we're about to do, actually starting Sunday night, is to shift traffic around, move one lane of the highway over onto the other side. And I'll give you a graphic here. And that's to allow us room to work without adding a bunch of additional pavement width. Essentially double the cost of this project to build it. I'll give you a visual on that. 33 eastbound is going to go into what we call contraflow. And what that means is you're going to take one of the lanes, the left lane, across the median and onto the opposing direction of traffic. You'll have a concrete barrier to separate eastbound and westbound. And then the right lane will still stay on the original side of the roadway, but it'll shift onto the shoulder. About 2 weeks ago, as they made some shifts, that shoulder got pretty beat up. We had to do some emergency repairs. We've been able to do some of that work ahead of time on the other direction. But this is going to be the situation basically for the rest of the year until we get to snow and ice season. Pull the barriers off so we can do all that control, snowplow all that activity, and then we'll flip into the other direction next year. So, had a really good discussion with Honda today. Basically, hey, how do we advise if there's any issues out here? We have the same kind of conversation with all the first responders. Obviously, the sheriff, highway patrol, fire, Marysville, all those good folks, so that if we have incidents in this zone, we can get information out there. So, feeling good about that, but any work zone is going to have incidents, so trying to make sure we're ready for that when the time does come. I have a lot of equipment pre-staged in that situation. So again, we're mostly working on that eastbound direction this year. We'll wrap that up by the time cold weather comes around, and then we'll flip to the other side next year. And then when we're all done with that, we will follow it up with full resurfacing, have a nice new road, and by the time we have to mess with it again, Hannah will have my job and I'll be on to something else. But it should last us a good long while. It's a real robust repair. Just going to skip through this. It's good information for people to reference afterwards. So this is a project over by one of the schools, and you do have Fairbanks schools in your township, correct? Kind of on the western end of it. So if anyone goes over to the schools just north of this location, it's a bridge replacement. It is going to start a little bit later than the April 27th. They're kind of watching high water and in stream. The good news is we have good high quality streams with lots of actually mussels typically control the timeline you can get in there. So they're shifting that. They're looking a little bit later. A lot of the feedback from the school was we don't want to have impacts to both the end of the 2025 school year and the start of the 2026. So ultimately, I think they're going to shift it out so they start once school is out and then continue a little bit through the fall season. So 105-day closure, just very narrow, curved bridge. It's necessary to do that. Had really good discussions with the sheriff's office to do enforcement to make sure we don't see a lot of state route cut through traffic. Doesn't mean it's not going to have, some trucks will happen, but if we show up in force on day one, we think that'll be a good benefit. So we talked about the 42 project a little bit earlier. I think this is kind of another view of it, but it's been a lot of drainage work, and that's been what took a little bit longer in the fall. We think we have a better handle on it this year. So I show that slide as well, is that we're going to flip and do similar work in Delaware County starting this fall if we get all that back open. Because they're basically detours for each other. So again, a project that does a lot of culvert replacement, reconstruction of the roadway. It'll go from the Union and Delaware County line to the Delaware Corp limit. It'll use 33 and 42 as the detour. And I think we're going to maintain the one-way westbound traffic. We will not have that detour and that directional detour until next year. So it'll be easy to go from Delaware to Marysville in that direction. It'll be a little more circuitous to go back the other direction. Pretty good investment, and it's just frankly needed. These are very busy roadways, and they're get really pounded with truck traffic. So, not adding 3 lanes to either one of these projects. That would be, again, doubling or tripling the cost because of right-of-way impacts. This is about 2 years out for construction in that summer of 2028 to fall 2028. 2 intersections, State Route 31 and State Route 4 with State Route 347. Long, straight roadways. People are not that compliant as far as speeds. Had some pretty gnarly accidents, fatalities for sure at State Route 4 and 347. So we've tried different interim improvements, but really what needs to happen are roundabouts. So Engineer Stouch has done a lot of good work to build roundabouts in your area. They're just proven. I'll use a little story from a location in Delaware County where I grew up at 2 state routes. I had a lot of hesitation from the public, say, hey, is this really going to solve the issue? The stats are there, but one of my friends who's a firefighter says, hey, I don't cut people out of cars here anymore. It works. So it takes a little while to develop them and build them, but they're a proven safety improvement. So those will both be built over that summer and fall. So excited to see that. And these are available on our website, but if you want to see them, this is 347 and State Route 4. The gas station would be on the left side of this, and you kind of see the north arrow that just shows up on here. So 4 goes from lower left to upper right, and then 347. And they're making it, I call it an oval shape almost like a running track, but basically it's to square up those intersections and allow for good movement and good visibility. So it does require that we buy a couple homes, a couple properties and strip takes from others. So that's what takes some of the time for this, but all the funding's in place. And then moving west to State Route 31 and 347. 31 is going from the lower right to the upper left. 347 going from lower left to upper right. It kind of goes just offset to the east, I would say, through, I think it's an old gas station parcel on that side, so avoids impacts to homes. Again, it'll be a really good safety improvement. Not everything we do is highway, not everything we do is a roundabout, although it feels like it some days. We also have good safety investments in pedestrian facilities. So I highlight this to you all in case you have any areas that you have concerns. We are investing in filling in sidewalks, using curb bump outs. So think of a busy state route, people be coming through fast. Some people listen to signs. Others, they only really listen if the roadway feels narrower. So you actually take the sidewalks, bump them out about 4 or 5 feet, makes it feel tighter, makes people slow down, and it also gives those pedestrians visibility because they're elevated kind of in from the parking. So we're going to do that in these 4 Union County villages. We have Broadway, Irwin, Milford Center, and then Raymond. So excited to see those go to construction in 2028. Some of those sidewalks are just a hodgepodge that aren't continuous. Not a huge dollar investment, but I think it's going to be a good quality of life improvement and hopefully save some folks that might have got lost in the clutter on some of these streets. So this is not our work is not limited to state routes. Jeff has gotten a lot of good safety money over the years, and we can come make investments in your community as well. If there's a crash pattern, safety money will follow that. And then we can also make really good proactive improvements for bikes and pedestrians. So as you guys plan, kind of think on that if there's something we can do to bring some construction to your area. And we do a fair amount of in-house work. Our garage is there on Collins Avenue on the west side of Marysville. They're very busy with drainage work. They did a lot of repairs, culvert replacements on 36 last year. I think 14 of them in like 90 days. And then they're basically focusing on some of the side streets where they intersect with our state routes. And I don't believe any of these are in your township directly, but you'll see our crews moving around trying to do that in a cost-effective manner. So that's a lot of the current work. I think anything else, we're working very closely with Engineer Stouch and the various municipalities on State Route 161. We really see that. You mentioned a couple of the projects that are developer-driven, but we see a lot of pressure on that corridor next. We just wrapped up a big investment at Post Road in 33 to kind of connect Old Dublin and New Dublin and address some of that growth. But there's a lot of property all the way out to Plain City that is spoken for and being developed, so we're trying to work a plan to widen that to 4 lanes and make intersection improvements. Will not happen all at once, but that'll be something that I think is important for you all, important for municipalities in all 3 counties. So working on a plan to have that ready for funding application, I think probably this time next year. So I'll pause for questions there. Through a lot of projects out there, but yeah, look to the board and administrators family if you have any questions for us.
I don't have any questions, just a reminder to the public, and you've touched on it, Tony, but you know, we're blessed to have front-facing windows to industrial, and we've counted probably around 20 to 30 vehicles going the wrong way in the construction zone. The sheriff's office has been hammering it out here for us, thank God. We've had some close calls. We had one go into our park grass just last week to avoid a head-on at a fairly high rate of speed, quite frankly. I think he thought if he sped up, he'd get to 42. We've had 18-wheelers. So I don't envy you guys because it's broad daylight and no one is watching the signs. No one. So we're lucky that I think everybody's caught on of how to get to our office, but we've had some close calls. One of the deputies shared a video earlier today right here where a person apparently never saw the pickup truck going the correct way and pulled right out in front of them, and that was almost a bad one, but so that's a ticket. But so I don't know, just folks need to slow down, pay attention, and take a little bit of extra time, especially right here. It's so high volume, you know, as you know. So we appreciate the work up there at 42 and Industrial. That's going to be a huge difference up there, and everything else that you got going on. We know you're busy.
I'll take a look if there's anything else beyond just normal signage we could do. A lot of times on ramps we have wrong-way drivers. They're normally impaired one way or another, but we actually draw, to put pavement markings, a big arrow saying, hey, not even a turn lane arrow, but just gives them a visual cue. And we also, if you ever driven down a freeway at night and see the reflectors that we put in the pavement, they actually flash red if you're looking the wrong way. We can look at some of those improvements that might give people a cue.
My only thought when I saw this video that was sent to me was it was a smaller vehicle, and the only thought I had was whether or not actually the signs in the barrels created a view obstruction to the right, because he's sitting facing Industrial, and if he's looking that way and misses a truck, that's the only thought I had, because he did stop. It wasn't like he blew the stop sign. So I just couldn't figure it out, and I tried to put myself in his shoes, and the only thing that came to my mind was maybe there's a view obstruction there and we don't know it. I don't know. That's the first time I've seen that, but.
Yeah, we'll always take videos, and what you guys are seeing, I put a lot of value in people that
I'll
see
send it to you.
24/7,
Yeah.
all kind of conditions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll get it to you if you haven't seen it. Yep.
Are there any incentives built into the construction work here to move these projects along any quicker?
Definitely disincentives. So typically put incentives on when there's like a full closure, and we try to tie it to, say, 5,000 cars a day times an extra hour travel time. And everybody's time is worth money, and we can put dollars to that, and we try to put incentive on it. That doesn't mean we just throw all the money in the world, because there is a limit to how fast they can go in terms of overtime. But this is more of a disincentive type contract, where it's liquidated damages if they go past.
So you're saying on these projects, it's only a disincentive if they're
Correct.
tasked, there's no incentives to move
Yep.
it. Any other questions?
Last thing I would like to share, maybe Hannah can speak to it. We do have the ability to sign up for traffic notifications, and we can send out the QR code for you all afterwards, but if you want to share a little bit of the information with us.
Good evening. Again, I'm Hannah Salem. I'm our District 6 Public Information Officer, so I handle all our communications for our now 7 counties. But yeah, we have a lot of ways for the public and you guys to get information. So one of those is our traffic advisories. So it's on our website and it's updated multiple times a week with the latest and greatest information on what roads are closed or what's upcoming, and then we list all of the continuing impacts as well. And then another great tool for the public and you guys to be aware of is OHGO, so that's OHGO. And this is an app and it's also a website, but It's our real-time mapping system. We actually have a traffic management center down in our central office in Columbus, and they're kind of our 24/7, 365 eyes in the sky is really what I refer to them as. So they can flag if there are any crashes on ODOT maintained roadways that might be impacting traffic, or any slowdowns or things like that. And then all of our construction projects and detours also get entered into that system. So it's a good resource to have a map and, see where you might need to head to. And then, we try and push the public to that too, so they know what's going on and, know that you can only go one way here.
I think there was a little disconnect there when this first got closed down because people were still getting on their Google Maps to go north to 42, and I had somebody pulling my driveway down the road here, wondering how to get around.
ODOT we are part of what's called the Work Zone Data Exchange, which I believe is actually a federal program. So it pulls information from our system, and then it eventually does make its way to things like Waze and Google Maps. But it definitely, to your point, takes a few days for those systems to catch up. And unfortunately, from our end, we can't really control what's on their maps as much as we can what's on our OGO app.
That's it. Great. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Be safe out there.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll get back into some of our regular business now. Mr. Caldwell, next up is approval of minutes.
I have no minutes for you to approve this evening.
Okay, that's going to be your report and approval of warrants.
We have warrants. We have warrants for your pending warrant report. They're warrants 46,506 through 46,540 and 96,057 through 96,060.
I move that we approve the warrants. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
I believe that is all I have right now.
Do we have any incentive for public participation?
No, they will.
Well, I do have one more thing that's under. We conducted interviews for part-time seasonal help, and they were looking for approval to hire. Do you know if the background checks have been done?
I have no idea.
So, pending background checks, they're asking for approval to make contingent offers.
For that one position or two?
I understood that one position
Or was just one?
did not show for a physical or something.
Yeah, there was, without getting into a lot of detail, the one I'm familiar with had phoned the office and had indicated that he had done the medical, that we would require. There's no record of that person ever showing, so we believe that was not an honest statement, and so they had to move on in the process. That person's no longer valid interest.
And then there was another question about rate of pay on this position. Did you review that, and where do we stand?
I think they were looking to increase that to $20 an hour.
And the rationale. And then what have we done in the past? Do you recall what?
You have more knowledge than I do at this point.
Because I recall a couple of years ago, there was an increase based on CDL license and being available for snow removal in the fall.
Yes.
Is that not the case in this situation? Any recommendation?
No. I did not receive anything from the road department to present to you.
We're getting far along in the season here, we gotta hire. Any thoughts? Joe?
Yeah, he's looking.
What is our current rate?
Don't we have a current starting pay for part-time seasonal? This is a part-time seasonal position or full-time seasonal position?
Part-time, and the range has always been, as far as I know, you folks increased it, or one of the boards increased it, not this board. It's 18 to 20, and to Trustee Adler's point, I believe the range was built in for a person that could either get their CDL or have their CDL that could come back and do plowing. That is my recollection
So,
of
yeah,
the rate
there
of
was
pay.
a mowing only, or a mowing slash, could also drive the big trucks.
I think we need to leave it alone. Did we post the position without a pay on it?
No, the range is listed.
Just go.
Yeah.
It's listed.
Yeah. What are we talking about, Barry? What's the question? I think
I just,
Brandon has what he needs
we need to get a motion or not?
to hire, but we don't have a particular name. The top candidate.
I don't know.
Instruct. Brandon, you were involved in the interviews.
No, there is, I can, if that helps you.
So the individual name is Aaron Stanley. Owen Stanley.
Yep.
Who was interviewed, and it's being requested to move forward with a hire, and we can say contingent upon approval of background checks. I do not know if he's completed that or not.
That's why I'm not able to, I mean, nepotism comes into play here. I've not been involved in any discussions. That's why we're a little blank. I can't be a part of any of it.
Robert, do you know what the position was advertised at? Range, 18 to 20, or was it advertised at 18?
I think a range, correct?
It's
Yeah.
still posted as a range because we don't know what the qualifications are. That's all I can say to answer your question.
The email that I saw from Vince, this individual does not have a CDL license at this time. I'm inclined to start at the $18 rate. It could be bumped up as we get closer to snow removal season.
Yep.
Joe,
What do you
any
think,
thoughts
Joe?
on that?
I'm not seeing an email from Vince.
Are you listening?
See if you're included.
So you're looking for a motion, Barry, to move forward with the hiring process?
Yes.
Or you could do something before you want them?
Text message.
I move that we accept Vince's recommendation to hire Owen Stanley for the part-time seasonal position that's open.
A second.
Roll call?
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
Do not see a public safety officer this time, so we'll delay that part of the meeting and move on to the administrator's report, please.
Yes, thank you. As you guys know, you authorized RFQ processes for Station 210 for a feasibility study and an RFQ process for the design phase of this building. Both were posted and both received multiple submissions. Internally, as the process goes by law, we formed an internal committee last week, and we did the first round of review of the submissions for this renovation project. We narrowed that group down, and we invited 2 firms in to be interviewed by the committee, and we ended up, the committee was convinced that the one that nudged the other is a firm called WSA. They're based out of downtown Columbus. And the next step in our process is for the board to authorize myself and Mr. Caldwell to begin negotiating a contract. Just so you know, if I come back to you and that number is too high or what have you, we can continue to negotiate and go back and forth. And then ultimately, if we're at an impasse, by law, I have to go with the second choice, and then so on. That process repeats itself. It's the same process for the RFQ process for 210 as well. Same, it's all done by law. So in this case, I'm requesting authorization to move forward with with negotiations with the company called WSA to begin negotiations for this project.
Any questions?
And then after those negotiations, I come back with a number to you, so you have that before we sign anything, obviously.
I so move. Do I have a second?
So we're talking about the firehouse next?
Yes, but
Okay.
yeah, we're not
Because
to
I
that
remember
point
we
yet.
said that was a priority, so I want
Right.
to make sure that we're
Yeah.
moving forward.
Yeah, we're still moving forward. The chief and I can give you that update. The chief and I are scheduled to meet tomorrow to go over the larger group. Same thing. Those have not been touched yet. And then we're going to both go to that stack, narrow that stack down, and then we'll establish interviews with those that make it to the next round. And that'll be an internal committee again, and it'll be myself, the chief, a fire union person, Mr. Caldwell if he's available, a trustee, and I'm missing somebody, or is that it? I may be missing one other person, but that's close to the committee. There'll be a group, and then we'll interview.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
So then, last step to answer your question, Mr. Kraft, then this would repeat itself at the next board meeting. I'll come back to you again. I'll tell you, or the chief and I will update you on the outcomes of Station 210's RFQ interviews and so on. Hopefully we can get those interviews done within the next 2 weeks. We want to keep the process moving. I will likely be me, come back to you, say the same thing. You'll have to authorize us to negotiate. Right now I don't have a firm name because none's been chosen. So we have our work cut out for us, but we think we can get it done in the next few days.
Make sure that's
Keep
on the
it
front
moving.
line before.
I'm sorry?
They have major needs there.
Yes, we're
So-
moving as fast as we possibly can on it, and I think we had, approximately 10 submissions, so we have a great group. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. We had six submissions for the township. Very all good quality companies, so. Next on my list, just a brief, really quick update. This has been in the works for several months. If you recall, when the companies came through here and were doing all the excavation out front, they ended up, the AMH company had to cut down a very healthy buckeye tree out front here. They agreed to replace that tree at the time. We met, they sent a nursery over here last week for a visit, and that tree will be delivered and planted, and the location is back here where the walking path kind of makes a curve. There's almost like a wedge effect back behind that eventually goes behind the outfield, the baseball field. They felt that was the appropriate spot. We met we asked some questions about watering and so on. They gave us good advice, and we'll be using a small pump to use the pond water back there to keep that tree watered. It has to be watered for at least a minimum of 3 weeks. If it's really dry, it may go beyond that. So we'll keep you posted, but very, very nice guy that came, so we're grateful to get that part done. And then closely associated with that, no one likes the fact that our yard is still, dug up, not seeded correctly. But if you remember, they had hydroed that, and then the drought hit. The grass never grew properly, and it turned kind of into dust again and dirt. So Classical Construction, who built the building next door, they have to come back to do some excavation of the front here to take care of just a grade issue. And they've agreed to come back and take care of this front yard as well. Part of that was their work, but not all of it. So you had the electrical for the LED sign, that caused some digging. I think our front yard got dug up 4 times last year. So we're finally, that'll be early May, I think first week in May, they'll be coming back through to get this done. We're gonna have to ask the same questions about seeding it, because we're getting back into the time where we just hope that the grass grows, and if not, they're gonna have to keep coming back until that's part of the contract. So unless you have any questions, that ends my report.
Thank you.
And on to the chief.
Quick question.
Yes.
How's that Direct Hatcher working out? Have they had an opportunity to?
Well, we've had some absences in the work group. We're just getting back one that was off for some the birth of a child. So once, I believe they were supposed to meet this week actually. So I'll get an update. I'll try to get you an update.
Thank you.
Yep. Great question. Go ahead, Chief.
Good evening. Your stats for March are there. Not as busy as we typically are, but the crews are staying busy. And I do want to highlight a couple. Lieutenant Miller's here, but his crew was real busy the other day. Only had a cardiac arrest that was a save when they delivered that patient to the hospital. But the same day, they had a technical rescue in the quarry. Farmer drove over the embankment. So we required help with that technical rescue from Washington Township and Concord. So they taxed all of our crews plus crews from both of those departments, and then the sheriff's office obviously was out there with us as well. So this goes to show that our firemen can go from 0 to 100 and never know what they're going to get into from day to day. Never thought I'd see the day of somebody drive over the bank of that quarry, but it did happen. So I'd say 150, 200 feet down.
Just short of 200 feet, yep.
So.
Are you going to tell us if the farmer was okay, Chief?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, he actually was transported just as precautionary, but was back out for the next day.
Wow.
Glad to hear
I
that.
think if he could have walked out of there, he probably would have, but,
Wow.
this old farmer.
That's
So the aerial update, we did our final inspection on the aerial yesterday. There's a few little minor things that we needed to wrap up that we knew we would have when we had the inspections, just placement of some cabinets and whatnot and some striping. So we should take delivery of that truck either tomorrow or Thursday. We was kind of hoping to have it here at the meeting tonight, but we will definitely have it at the next meeting. Additionally, we will have the side-by-side that we purchased through a grant through Firehouse Subs. We'll have that at the next meeting as well. The crews are working really hard to get that outfitted and get it in service. So I believe we're like 95% of the way there. So we'll have both of those pieces of equipment. As far as the aerial ladder, we're going to do initial training with Sutton on May 5th, 6th, and 7th. But then we're going to bring in another firm to do training with our crews for about 4 to 5 days. We're still trying to fine tune that training schedule. But you know, this is the first aerial ladder that this township has had. We don't have a whole lot of firefighters that have experience with an aerial ladder, so we're not going to rush to put this in service. We still got equipment to mount, And really, the training is the biggest part of that, getting them familiar with the truck, getting them operational. But it's a significant change to the way we operate today, not having that aerial and having to wait on mutual aid to bring an aerial for us. So we're not going to be in any rush. I would anticipate 2 to 3 months before we have that in service. But this is a huge change to our operations and the safety of our community. We've already started working on addressing our ISO rating. The lieutenant is in charge of that, working to reduce that ISO rating now that we have the ladder and the tanker. So we should see improvements in that the next time we have that rating, which our goal is to get reevaluated yet this year.
Chief, will that truck be available for community events?
Oh, yeah.
Like you've got an outing coming up, right? Some sort of that.
We have a Township truck coming up.
Yes.
Yes.
And then
So-
can you have it at the car show?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. It's the tornado sirens. I know that we've been exchanging emails regarding the purchase of a new siren. As of right now, all the sirens are working the way they're supposed to. Nobody can control the amount of sunlight, but what they are finding is we did go with a higher grade with the new quote, whatnot, higher grade marine battery. So when we do have periods of no sun, just a lot of clouds, that is going to maintain. Throughout the entire year, they worked. It was just not getting the charge that that system desired, I guess. So it would send a signal back to the 911 center. There was no period of time where it wasn't operational, but we wanted to make sure that before we moved with more sirens, that we were comfortable with making sure that they were working and they were 100%. So the 4 sirens, the 2 for Jerome, 2 for Mill Creek, are 100% functional. The only reason they would go down is if, a bird did something, or a squirrel, or storm damage. So I sent the purchase order request over to Brandon and Mr. Caldwell, so we could move forward with one for this year. And then you also saw the spreadsheet for priorities. Obviously, those can be adjusted based on finances of the township, but you also got the map to kind of show where those are anticipated. We got with Jeff Holtschulte from the county. He helped us develop that map. We gave it to Brad Gilbert. He agrees with that map. He feels it's good placement. It does give us some overlap just in case we do have a siren go down or whatnot. But the other part of that is when we purchased those sirens, we entered into an agreement with the county that they would maintain those sirens for us. They're going to do regular maintenance every year. They're scheduled to come out this month and early next month to do their annual maintenance. The one things that we would have to replace would be the batteries, and then if the sirens were damaged. But they're taking care of the maintenance and the regular software updates, things like that. So, if you have any questions,
Is your recommendation to go with JT 003 on this map as your next place?
We've already got 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
We would go with number 4, which is, we anticipated like Glacier Ridge area, or Glacier Park, but I think we have a better access, better location on the very back end of the Glacier housing development, just because we can get back into those areas a lot easier with the truck. So and that's the fine tuning, we're gonna work that, and then what we do is we get a placement and we send it to Federal Signal. They run it through and they compare it to the other sirens that we have in the area, and then they give us final approval, and then we can work, Eric, Brandon and I can work with, if it's a property owner, the parks or whoever, to get the permission to put it on. As I said in my email, the first 2 were easy because we own the properties and we didn't have to have any agreements. And then we may be able to install these in right-of-ways as well that's already done. So that's just the legwork that we're going to work on once we get approval. And we got about a 6-week lead time on getting those sirens and get them installed, and then they ship them out, and they do a bunch of installs in the area throughout the year.
So I'm sorry, the next location then, we do or do not need to, I missed that. We do or do not need to go after an agreement with a property owner?
We may.
Oh,
It just depends on where the final location's gonna be. If we can do it in the right of way, we really wouldn't have to, it'd just be a formality.
So if we order it, is the company able to hold
Yeah.
off until we get everything?
Yeah, the install really, the final install, that comes later on.
Okay.
But to order it, that gets it to start building it.
Gotcha.
It's one of those that they're not gonna,
Okay.
just like a fire truck, they're gonna start building it until
Okay.
we order it. Any other questions on the sirens?
Do we need a motion to move forward on it?
Yeah, go ahead and do a motion for the purchase of one for the siren.
I'd like to make a motion to purchase one new tornado siren up to the price of the.
And Barry, you
Just under
included that in the
41,000.
budget? You'd included that in the budget, Barry?
Yes, I believe it is.
$40,688.
41,000.
Wow.
Yes.
$41,000, and that is part of the budget, correct? So move. Any
Second.
roll call?
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
And as we move forward, some of these sirens are based on the growth in of the township and new developments. That's an opportunity for the township to kind of put the burden back on the developer. We would own the siren, but they would be responsible for purchase it and install it. That's something that we work through Brandon and Derek's office, but just to ease the burden on our residents. But I think having the sirens, it's amazing. They all went off a week ago when the storms came through, but that was out of abundance of caution because they did have a deputy in Champaign County that had witnessed the funnel cloud and whatnot. So it wasn't because of National Weather Service or anything, but great project that we have going on in our township.
I'll follow up with, on your point, Chief. I want to make sure that we don't overstep there. I'll follow up with the prosecutor's office to make sure we're allowed to do the
Correct.
developer. I don't
Making it
know
an
if we're
exaction
missing.
is
I mean, it sounds like a great idea. I just want to make sure before we go to that step that we're legally allowed to go to that step, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Or unless you have
We
something.
got plenty of time.
Okay.
Because those aren't going to be for several years.
I'll ask, thank you.
But yeah.
I appreciate your efforts in updating and keeping updated to the safety of the community.
Yep. Great project. I appreciate the trustees supporting this and whatnot. Both our trustees and Mill Creek, they've been very, very helpful. Trying to get that 100% coverage is going to take several years, so somebody's going to have to pick up the ball after I leave. So I guess that's what we do. And then the last thing I got, new hires. We've been working on interviews and whatnot. We got to the point where we have several in the background, physical stage, and drug screens. We're getting that information back. We anticipate having everybody on board by mid-May of the new hires, and then backfilling the part-time positions. We did move some people up. We did have some people take full-time jobs at other places. And actually, unfortunately, we did receive a resignation today of one of our full-timers that is going back home to the Solon area. So we're already working to get that position filled as well. So I'll be dropping that off to Mr. Stanley tomorrow, so you can accept that resignation at the next meeting. I will tell you, this is probably the biggest group. John and then we're here when we did the Safer grant, when we hired 9 firefighters. We didn't have that many applications this time. We had 30 applications. I believe we interviewed almost 20, just because some of them don't meet the qualifications when they apply. And we had a really good, it was really tough, probably one of the toughest processes that we've had. I will say that fortunately we are in a phenomenal position because there's departments out there that have dozens of positions open and they're only getting a handful of applicants, and then they have to go through the same process as we do. So it speaks volumes to what our people are doing every day to attract firefighters to our area, and really the culture that has been developed and trying to keep those people here. Sometimes we lose people because they're going to go back to where they live, and it's rewarding because when we go, we had 3 people graduate from medic school this past 2 weeks, 1 from Grant, and I would say 1 current firefighter from state, and then one that we have moved forward with in the hiring process. So we're getting really good candidates out of these programs and out of tolls. So it's really amazing what we've been able to do and have that many applicants at one time. So.
With all the firefighters that have resigned, have we replaced them additionally to the ones you were adding?
Yeah, this is we have the ability to replace them when we have. We were full with, prior to the new year with the 3 new approvals. The only ones that we hadn't been able to, that we did the whole interview process was backfilling them part-time. And we're in a position now where we're gonna fill all open positions. We should have everybody in place by the end of May. I would say no later than the end of May, but our goal is mid-May. So,
Just to clarify, Robert, do we need to do any final approvals on the personnel?
We've been back and forth on that. Some you have, some you have not. You did approve the hiring of 3 new positions. Whether you want to specifically identify names at the time they come on board, that's kind of up to the board. Like I said, we have sometimes and we have not sometimes.
I can provide a list of names, and if you want to move that direction, we provide a list of names to Mr. Stanley, and they can be approved at the next board meeting. Some will they'll start before then, but some will start after them. It's all based on the pay periods and.
We do it for all the other positions, we might as well. That's the
Yeah.
way, since I've been here, the board's
Yes,
always
that's how it
named
should be
me.
done.
Probably. Yeah, just do, yeah, if you can, just do that.
Thank you.
I have nothing for the road division report.
Okay.
You have anything else?
No, sir.
Okay.
I think the board's heard
That
enough
ends
from
our
me.
report.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks.
Mr. Stanley.
But they do have a flower event that they're selling too. Did you see that? A fundraiser, I think. You might want to mention it.
Yeah, starting yesterday, we're doing Mother's Day flower sales, $20 for each hanging basket. We're doing pre-sales from now until May 3rd. That'll end on May 3rd. So basically, we ran out last year, which was a good problem for us to have. All the money goes towards our union. And we donate part of that to certain foundation or charity. This year we did a pre-sales a little bit longer in hopes that we don't end up with flowers. We ended up ordering more flowers than we did last year. So on May 3rd, the pre-sale will end. May 5th at Station 210 as well as 211 we'll have in-person sales. And then the last, I think it's like the 7th, 8th, and 9th, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we will have in-person sales at JT's. We've asked them if we can utilize a little bit of their area to do some flower sales. Obviously, it's something our union does. It's all done off duty. So we'll be doing that for the next couple weeks to support our union.
Okay.
Could you go over the process for pre-ordering and?
Yep. So on our Facebook page, as well as the township, the fire department's Facebook page, they shared a link on there. You just click on that link, fill out all the information on the sign-up form. You can pay cash or Venmo. And then on May 4th, you can come in and you can pick. So you'll get to pick flowers that haven't been picked through, hanging baskets that haven't been picked through already before anybody else, before it's open to the public. So, but that's all done online.
I ordered 4 last year and they were really nice. So, you know. Order some, Barry.
Grandkids.
Joe.
Pull the lever, Barry.
5, 6, 8.
Okay, thank you very
Put
much.
that in the paper there, Jack.
All right, under new business, is there any old business before I move on? Anybody bringing up any old business?
No.
Okay, under new business, if I can find the resolutions here. There it is, okay. All right, I move that we approve a resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of an amendment to the Joint Economic Development District contract by and between the City of Marysville and Jerome Township with Jerome Village Duchess. A second?
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
I've got another resolution here. I move that we approve and authorize the execution and delivery of an amendment to the Joint Economic Development District contract by and between the City of Marysville and Jerome Township, Union County, Ohio, for the Warner Road Industrial Corporate Center 4.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
I can go through announcements when I get the paperwork circulated. I did want to add one announcement that wasn't on here that it just came up. I noticed on my email that there is a free tire collection May 2nd from 9 to 11 a.m. at Bunsell Middle School, State Route 4 in Marysville. This is sponsored by the Union County Health Department. There's a 10-tire limit. To get updates on road projects in the township, please visit our website. To get updates on ODOT projects, including State Route 42 and Industrial Parkway, click the link on our website or visit the ODOT website, District 6. Upcoming election-related information. Election day is Tuesday, May 5th, 2026, from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. The Township Hall is a polling location for you to cast your vote, but I caution you, make sure you check on the Union County Board of Elections site to make sure that it is your location for casting a vote, because they have added 2 new polling locations this year. Early voting began on Tuesday, April 7th through Sunday, May 3rd at the Board of Elections in Marysville, Ohio. The Township Hall is not an early voting location. The regularly scheduled Jerome Township Board of Trustees meeting scheduled for Tuesday, May 5th is being moved to Wednesday, May 6th, 2026 at 7 p.m. due to the election. The Jerome Township offices will be closed Monday, May 25th for Memorial Day. We will reopen on Tuesday, May 26th, 2026 at 8 a.m. The Memorial Day program will be at the Jerome Cemetery located at 10760 Jerome Road, Plain City, Ohio, on Monday, May 25th at 10 a.m. If the weather is inclement, the program will be held in the Jerome Township Hall. Our guest speaker this year is Brittany McCall of the Fallen 15. The 2026 Jerome Township Community Car Show benefiting the Fallen 15, sponsored by the Weiler Collection, will be held Sunday, June 14th, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. along the States Court just off of the States Parkway. If you'd like to receive notification regarding the Board of Trustees meetings, please email the Township office at jerometownship@jerometownship.com. The Township is always accepting applications for positions on our zoning boards. Please visit the Jerome Township website to fill out an application. Any other announcements?
It should be in the red folder. I don't know which you're going into there, Mr. Chairman, but any of them are in there.
Okay, I move that we go into executive session under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1 for employment matters to consider appointment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official for the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual. I also move that we go into executive session to consider confidential information related to the marketing of Section G-8, Economic Development. Executive session to consider confidential information related to the marketing plans, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development, or to consider negotiations with other political divisions respecting requests for economic development assistance.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
Mr. Badger?
Yes,
Ms. Watson?
Yes.
the time is 8:50 PM. We're now adjourned into executive session.